Being an entrepreneur might appear to be easy, but things didn't just get this way. Welcome to the Broken Entrepreneur Podcast. Yo, baby pops. It is your favorite perky barista, Juanita Michelle. I am here at Third Perk Coffee House and Wine Bar in beautiful downtown Dayton. And I have the pleasure of being here with one of my good friends, Nicole Pritchett. We are going to interview Nicole Pritchett today for our Broken Entrepreneur Podcast. And I'm just so happy to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
You're excited to be here?
Yes, I am.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So, before we get into Nicole and all things with Nicole, this is a phenomenal woman. I can't wait for her to share more about herself. But before we do that, I just want to remind you all about why we're here. Remember, this is our Broken Entrepreneur Podcast, and I am a lifelong entrepreneur. I have been in business in some way, shape, or form since I was 9 years old. And in this space that we're in, Third Perk, this has been one of my most successful endeavors. But yet, even though we have had so much success here, I have had more accolades, awards given, we're still lacking. So for myself, I recognize where I was lacking and how it had truly broken me. And we have started on an 18-month journey to rebuild what we need to rebuild, systems, programs, so that we can become a sustainable and a profitable business. So as we are on our journey, we are stopping by, or we're having some dope people stop by and talk to us about their business journey and maybe give us some clues and some tips on any challenges that they may have come up against and how they got over those challenges. So again, that brings me back to my girl, Nicole Pritchett. I met Nicole Pritchett, I'm not going to tell y'all how long ago. I ain't going to tell y'all about how long ago.
It's a good long time
It's a good long time ago. But it is in the book.
Is it in the book?
It's in the book. It's in the book. It's in the Third Perk book. It is. I talk about it. I talk about
detail?
In detail. I talk about in detail how we met. So
Oh, wow.
it's a good story though, right?
Yeah, it's a good story. It's a special story.
It's okay. So y'all don't have to wonder and guess. Nicole Pritchett is my door closed, window open person.
What's that?
I never told you about that?
No, what's that?
So you know how a lot of times they'll say when a door closes or opportunity shuts, something else opens up.
Yeah.
So I met Nicole Pritchett in December of 1991. That tell y'all how long ago it was. And yeah, boo. So it was that long ago.
Right.
Now I knew about Nicole because we shared a mutual friend.
Right.
So although we shared a mutual friend, we had never formally met. We never got together. So I and Nicole, we were working at the same space during the holiday season. And I was like, hey, I know you. I'm like, we got a friend. And she's like, yeah, I know you too. Right. So long story short, we connected over knowing this friend. And the one night we decided, hey, when we get off work, we're going to go chill with Stephanie. Let's go do that. And I'll be doggone. When we walked out the door, we found out Stephanie was dead. So, you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You remember my sister? I walked out the door, and my sister and my cousin was sitting outside in the parking lot And she came up, and I am the mother of premature twins. So when I seen them, and their faces were like definitely telling me that something was wrong. And when I seen them, I just kind of stopped because I thought it was something wrong with one of the babies because they were still really small. And she told me that Stephanie had passed, and it was tragic. She died in a car accident, and it was December 13th, 1991. Mm-hmm. And although she and I didn't have that thing then, we
didn't know each other. We were strangers.
We didn't know each other.
You know, you have a friend, a mutual friend, or somebody. You really strangers.
Yeah, and we end up.
But knew each other was good people because Stephanie wouldn't be friends. You know what I mean, like that. If you ain't good people, so I knew she was good people, but we were strangers.
So we ended up getting together. You cut Keenan and Kendall's hair a couple times, and then we just hung out. We was mourning together. We laughed, cried a little bit, but all these years later,
right?
You know, we still rolling. Right. So Nicole and I remember in those early days just thinking about things that we wanted to do. Remember Supreme Styles? Do you remember Supreme Styles? So Supreme Styles was a publication that I was going to put together. And I worked on that thing for maybe a year or so. And Nicole was rapping at the time.
Help us.
But y'all don't understand. We gonna get some footage. We gonna throw some of those pictures in there. They gonna see the pictures. We gonna get them. Yeah. Just lean in.
I'm rolling with you.
So, but that's how long we've been tight.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would love. We're gonna go back and talk about your Lady Supreme days. I was doing Supreme Styles, but this here, y'all, right here.
So, Lady Supreme, before we even get all into it,
who is Lady Supreme?
That was my first rap name, and it was given to me, and I was never that fond of it because I have 5 boys ahead of me. So when I go home with my hip hop name being Lady Supreme, they like that's weak, like. You weak, Lady Supreme, because they're used to wanting the box, you know. And I'm like, but the name was given to me. But all I ever wanted to do was write and rhyme.
Wow.
That's all I ever wanted to do. I wanted to write and rhyme from the time I could write.
Wow.
You know, and it doesn't go away. You know what I mean? It never leaves you.
Right. So we're gonna talk about how that came all the way back around.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes. We're gonna talk about how that came back around. So tell me about SHE-Roe. Tell me about how did you go from Lady Supreme? How did you go from that to technology guru to now being the executive director of a child advocacy organization? Tell us about SHE-Roe.
So, like, SHE-Roe is one of the things that I'm most proud of.
Wow.
I'm most proud of SHE-Roe because anytime I heard a saying that if you see the need, you heard the call, right? And so I was at work one day and I know how I was as a young creative, a kid that, you know, like to do whimsical stuff. And when I was Lady Supreme, we had production deals back in those days. And so I got this production deal and I joined this crew and started writing and really enjoying it. And then I went into, it started to roll into bigger things. So next thing I joined a writing team for one of Dayton's hip hop groups, Boss Man and the Blackjack. And so I joined the writing team with them. And my wanting to write and poetry rolled into all of these other opportunities. And I now know that that's true because if it's your passion, stuff is going to open up. And I can look back now and see all the times that just because it was something that I loved and I wanted, I can see all the times where it opened up. You know, and that feel good to look back now. Now, it was frustrating back then because it was like, oh, I'm about to kill him with these rhymes, you know? But Dayton is a musical city and one of the greatest. And we have super genius flowing through this city, and we always have, and I'm of an opinion that we always will have super genius flowing through the city.
Oh yeah, we got good dirt.
Yeah.
We got good dirt.
Bossman and Blackjack, I in fact, they actually pulled me on their team, not as a writer. I started as an admin. They brought me in to make sure lyrics was typed up, making sure schedules was right, and when they had to go do something, I'm making calls. So I didn't start out with them as this writer. One day, I would hear them. We had a studio room off to one side, and then there was a little room that was my office. You know, it really was a converted bedroom, but I had a word processor, daggone, and I thought I was doing it.
Not a computer.
Not a computer.
Not a typewriter.
Not a typewriter.
More advanced than a typewriter.
It was a word processor.
That's right.
But I had never seen one before, though.
He was like, sure, we doing it over here.
I said,
we got a word processor.
We about to go platinum with a word processor.
Oh, sure. Wait a minute. Okay. So let me take you back to something I remember fondly.
Okay.
If you can you remember their original hook for Ghetto Parade?
The outside of the one they
not the one that you
wrote.
Not the one that you wrote. But what did they have before the one you wrote?
So this gets into they had some grime in the one than their original hook because they was like reporting. Like Rick was a storyteller, so he's reporting. And so that original hook was grime, but when you bring in the production deals and record deals, and your moves are starting to be dictated, and they needed a more friendlier hook.
Absolutely.
And I'm a friendly person, but how I ended up writing that hook, I was in the other room on the word processor.
Right.
They were in the studio room completely banging out, and I love music, so I don't care. I'm good. But they would play songs, and I would secretly write lyrics. Didn't care if they was using them or not. Never even thought they would. I just felt it in and they pulled me in on some business stuff, and then they had the music playing, and then I started to because I'm going off memory, because I look at it all day, so I'm going off memory, and then next thing you know, they're like, no, you a writer, and I got over on the writer side. And so then when we get to the Ghetto Parade hook, I'm an inclusive person, and I love my community, and this is rolling into Hope Road. Ghetto Parade is a precursor to what I do in Hope Road. So it's like, the lyrics were, it's time to open up our minds and eyes. The prize is survival, a new arrival to a new hood that's coming of age. It's a ghetto parade. That is to say, let's change this, because we talking the crack era. You feel me? So everybody's reporting on what's happening to our families and to our communities. I don't want to just say, no, it was houses being wrecked, and we in the middle of it. And it's always got to be some kind of light. And so when they said they needed something lighter, they pointed at the chick, because I was the only female in the group, to give something lighter. And so that's what I wrote, Ghetto Parade. But I've always been community minded. I've always cared deeply for specifically kids who don't have the outlet, whether it's because their parents can't afford that outlet, or whether it's arts. We do in Hope Road, we do arts and nature. We use arts and nature as the platform just to introduce these ideas to say, run with your passion, get the character that you need, build up the character you need, build up the confidence you need to be able to do what you want to do. And so I've always felt that way, even when I was Lady Spring. By the way, my name did get changed ultimately.
What was the new name?
Nobody knows this, but it's actually is on the credits.
For Ghetto Parade.
Y'all gonna have to edit this out because y'all wanna know what my name was changed to.
That Ninja Code.
And that's on the credits.
That's on the credits. I'm listed on the credits. My mama was horrified. That's what they changed my name to.
We're just gonna go boop.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
that- on
but
that
that is.
section.
But you got to think about the time. But but at that, I was so tuned into the what was going on. It didn't matter to me. They could have called me anything. They could have called me, boo-bop.
So I have to let everyone know. Well, first of all, I was with Ed Dixon last week.
Okay.
Ed Dixon was a part of that record
For Life
label,
Records,
For
yeah.
Life Records, that produced.
Yes.
Or
they did. They were the record label
The record
for
label.
Boss Man and Black Jack.
Absolutely.
And so they were the executive producers of Ghetto Parade.
Okay.
Which was nominated for the Soul Train Music Award.
And that's what I was
No,
getting
Much
to.
Love was nominated for the Soul Train Music Award, and it led into Ghetto Parade.
Okay. But that year when you were nominated, because you were a part of that, that year when you were nominated, tell me who the other nominees were.
Boys to Men. It was people we couldn't believe, It was, all I can remember is Boys to Men. I believe Two Live Crew was in it. It was about at least five of them.
And they were all
way bigger.
Way bigger.
Way bigger.
Wait a minute, it was so big. This is funny. It's a little shot, but
Go ahead.
just a little shot. So you had all these professional shots, like Boys to Men, this person, that person, and then you had Boss Man and Blackjack, and they looked like they had been sitting in front of Ren's, and somebody just randomly took their picture.
No, they chose that picture.
But it was like all these very everyone.
Polished. They
It
were
was polished, and it was just for me. It reminded me of the fact that this group was able to rise to the best, and you were a part of that.
Sure.
You were a part of that. So tell me, after that Soul Train experience, what did you do
Y'all
with
want me
your
to tell the truth
writing?
about that?
We want the truth. Cause it's like after you get nominated for Soul Train, what happens? What? We ain't editing this out. This is a real story.
It is. It's so real, and I know I'm not the only one. And I know if I tell the real, it's going to resonate with every musician in this city, every producer, every writer, and every rapper. Because after they went to the awards, we saw it on TV, and I don't want to say that the decision was made. They were supposed to stay there. They were supposed to thug it out. Feel me? I'm just going to say it how I know it now, being a grown woman now. They were supposed to stay and thug it out, but they did not stay and thug it out. What they did was they came back to Dayton, believing and thinking that the call was going to come.
Oh, they thought someone was going to come and get them?
They thought someone was going to come and get them. And we're talking crew. Now, this is in a time when people had crews, and we were a crew, and we were running, and so they came back and to the same house on the west side and waited for the call that never came, and we all waited, and so that heaviness rolled on down through it, and I watched my crew deal with that heaviness in all different kind of ways, doing the best they could. We all was doing the best we could to handle it, because Dayton, a little city, we had to face people. What y'all know about that?
They're like, what you doing here? I just saw you on Old Boy Show. Wasn't you out there with Dr. Dre?
Man, listen, we did. We had, and that was not like, it just, we took the hit and we took the hit and did our best to try to get up in the best way we could. Real talk. I'm going to tell you the truth about it.
Ooh.
I'm going to tell you the truth about it.
So
And so I watched us all do it in different ways. For me, I'm a learner and I'm a lifelong learner. So I flipped my switch to learning some other things, and so I became a techie. Right now by profession, I'm an IT project manager. I love tech. I love what I do, but I watched the others not make that shift. You know what I mean? And it always hung over our heads. In fact, it wasn't until Hope Road, honestly, that mine started to lift. When I started to move again and be proud of myself again.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so Hope, finding some peace. And so I said about Ghetto Parade, and I knew I had that community piece. Salvage what you can salvage, take the hit, and then try to get back on balance. And
Yeah.
Hope Road was the way that I got back on balance.
Tell me, when did Hope Road come about?
Hope Road came about in 2009. I
Okay.
was down for years. We all were down for years.
Because the year that the Soul Train nomination happened, what year was that?
Don't make me.
I got to. We got to know. What year was it? 90.
5,
Was it 95?
95,
Wow.
96.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you what I'm proud of. I now know that I have a perspective that others may not have or don't have, because I was the only female writer in the check me. Everybody can challenge me. The first national hip hop group from Dayton, Ohio, nominated. That's
Okay.
what sets them apart. And I know we hear all kind of stuff. You hear all kind of stuff
Oh, yeah.
when you make a move, and people have their theories about why and whatnot. But really, the why it happened was because we believed, as a group, we believed real strong. And not only did we just sit around believe, but we got together every single day and we built those projects and learned what we needed to learn as much as we could at that time, because we didn't have Google, you know what I mean? So information was not readily available to us, so we scraping and hustling, you know?
I would be remiss if I wouldn't mention that you guys slept on an opportunity.
Okay, I'll tell this part of the story.
I'll let you tell it.
We
It's rather
We
embarrassing.
were producing the album Songs in the Key of Strife. And Juanita would come over to the studio and visit, you know, because it was all dudes. And so I have my homegirls come, you know, and sit with me, or we'd go get something to eat or whatever. She come and she was like, Cole, I got a song. It's called, listen to me. It's called Yum Yum Give Me Some. I said, Yum Yum Give Me Some. We conscious rappers.
The whole room.
We
the
are
whole
conscious
room.
rappers. And she came back with Yum Yum Give Me Some. Now here's the kick in the head.
Look.
Had we done Yum Yum Give Me Some, because she really had the idea to that first Southern flavor.
Like that booty bounce.
The booty bounce music.
And they were like, what?
Shunned her.
It was before 98 sound, like it was before all of that. And I was like, come on.
Shunned her.
And they looked at me like, she's so silly.
Nah, you silly. We talking
Quit-
real
quit
stuff
bringing-
around here.
quit-
It's
quit
real
bringing-
around here.
Quit bringing her around. But we all would have been millionaires.
Yum Yum Give Me Some.
Give me some. Hashtag.
So,
I wrote it.
you know what? I'm going to go on and produce Yum Yum Give Me Some just for you and I to bang out.
Our grandkids will dance.
Our grandkids will dance to Yum Yum Give Me Some.
We can make it kid friendly.
Yes, absolutely.
It could be about ice cream.
Yum Yum. I ain't even put you. So, that is,
Ice cream, donuts, all that sweet stuff.
and you're encouraging.
Because so here's the thing. A part of my resurrection, the part of me standing back up, is rebranding what we do
Yes.
here at Third Perk.
Yeah.
So you know, I feel like the wine bar, the alcohol, just never really caught on. You had some people who knew that you could come and get a cocktail, but you had hundreds of people who would walk in here and be like, "Oh, you got alcohol? Well, yeah, coffee house and wine bar, you know, kind of says alcohol." So we're rebranding to become the sweetest corner in downtown Dayton.
Nice. That's
And that
nice.
sweetest corner is going to include donuts and ice cream. Yum, yum, give me some. Look
Yum,
how that
yum.
came. Look. Pow. Came back around. Hallelujah. Ha! It's on the notes. It's a note. It's a note. So, wow. I'm like, it's a note. Okay, so getting back to not to third part, but getting back to SHE-Roe. That was, what year was that? Were you?
2009 is when I thought of Hope Road, and when it was, what do you want? Because of this heartbreak, I said I would want kids to have the information available, because when
Okay.
it was me, I didn't have that information available. How to get access to that information, how to use that information.
Okay.
And then, and also create, not only build up their confidence, not only do character building, but teach them how compassion and competence. You got to be competent.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't just be talented. We have something going on here where we got all this genius running through this city, and I give everybody the same challenge, and I challenge everybody to it. There are people here, but my challenge is now, that number is less than 5, who can fully feed their family and support the lifestyle they want off of the music that they created.
You said only 5?
That's what I believe.
5. Oh,
That's what I believe.
wow.
100% the lifestyle, that means mortgage, that means the car that you
Everything.
want, that means
Everything.
we don't have to, because we all do side hustles in music. We all got that first job or that nighttime job, and we writing during the day. I did it.
Okay.
You know, but that's my challenge. And I want to
5.
know, it would encourage me to know that it was more than 5.
Okay. Put it in the comments, y'all. Put it in the comments if you got.
I don't have 5. I only can name 3.
Wow. Wow.
And we got genius running through the veins of these streets.
Oh, absolutely. What does hip hop look like if you didn't have Ohio
Right.
sound?
That's right.
I'm sorry, Dayton, Ohio
right.
sound.
That's right.
You know, you cannot have the Chronic album
That's right.
without Dayton, Ohio.
That's right.
So we are truly represented in so much modern music.
So
Yet, and that's what, when you said how Rick and Boss Man came back looking for someone to come and get them, we've got musical geniuses that led a whole genre that nobody comes back and look for.
Right.
Like, people, for whatever reason, that has slipped. We don't have people coming here looking for the magic.
Right. And now I'd like to give if I can get on my soapbox just for a moment on why I feel like that is.
Tell me.
I believe that we suffer, the native creatives, the generational creatives suffer from arrogant insecurity.
I don't know anything about that part.
The insecurity brings about this fear that gets us just far enough. We'll make the product, and some will perform and may not have a product. Some will have a product and perform and won't have a publishing or copy or protection and copyrights. I can only think of those 2 things that would stop you from doing the whole process, and it is a process. I'm looking forward to sharing that process.
Okay.
Because now I'm like, I want to give my city every piece of information that I can to make a difference, so that we can go on and pop the top off.
Okay.
Like it was.
Okay. So, saying all that, so you're doing SHE-Roe,
Yes.
but I still hear music. Like,
Absolutely.
I hear you, I still hear music. So,
Right. So
how is music back on your forefront, or did it ever leave?
It never leaves. You're gonna do what you do in one way or the other, no matter what it is, whether it's writing, whether it's music, whether it's being the perky barista, you can't help yourself. So music never left me, and what did leave me was the belief that I could be among those 5 that I talk about. You see what I mean?
Okay.
So now and people in Dayton, and we all would think that it's about being a star, getting known, a record label, or selling however many, and I'm past the age of that. But this thing doesn't leave me alone. And so
It's like a little itch, ain't it?
but there's always, you said, when the door closes, a window opens. There's always a window. And so I found my way back into the belief of being in that top 5 through music licensing and synchronization. So the songs that I write, the songs that I compose, and I can continue to write and compose till my little heart is just filled, and take those songs through the process, prepare for music licensing and synchronization, and being able to change my job. Because that's what I want my job to be. I love being an IT project manager, but that's what I want my job to be.
I love it.
And so what COVID brought about for me was clarification. It said, are you either going to stay right here and just continue to be right here, or is there something more that you want? And there was something more that I wanted. And so then I began 30 Days Productions, and that's where we house our catalogs now. I now have 5 catalogs of music for film, music for TV, music for content creators, and music for advertising. And I've been building it. And so if I had to say it to anybody, it's just stay on the build. Just leverage every step. Just continue to build up. But I can't say that out loud if I hadn't done it. So the thought here is that the only avenues for music or the successful avenues of music, if that music is playing in the club, like that's the only avenue, that's the only mark of success, and it's not the only mark of success. Music creators who are in the realm of music licensing and synchronization, it's not so much, it is more of a discipline. What's the discipline? 2 songs a week. What's the discipline? Not choking yourself out through paralysis by analysis. We are perfectionists. We got to keep on tweaking it. Nah, that drum ain't right. Nah, I got to get this plug in before we release this, or I gotta. All of that is that's scared. You're not doing anything unless you're walking those songs to the end. Mix, master, metadata. That's the other piece. And until your song is mixed, mastered with correct metadata, you really ain't got a leg to stand on. Wow. Whether you want your music in the club or whether you want your music in film, TV, or commercials.
Because there's so many ways for you to make money.
The world has changed. Oh my God. See, I feel like Dayton operates as if musically we fight over this only little small piece of pie. They're under the misconception that it's just a piece of pie. It is not. It's just pie. Because you have to think, for music licensing and synchronization, all of the avenues that's outside of the club. Think about your streaming services and the originals that are coming on those streaming services. They are constantly looking for music, not this music that we're competing against each other with, but that your soul, emotional music. We like to think our music would be the star, but in music licensing and synchronization, your music is not the star. Your music is supporting something visual and making something great. I want to be a part of that.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, I want to be a part of that.
No, where did you learn about the licensing?
Because writing and music didn't leave me alone. And I'm one that'll search for solutions. And this was the solution that fit me. It may not be the solution for someone else. But this was the solution that fit me and freed me. I do SHE-Roe better now that I'm doing my passion project too, because I feel good. It energizes me, you know. I make sure to, for music license synchronization, we go to conferences, you know, and we network at conferences, because it's not this competitive thing, because what we know is that it's just pie.
Yes. And it doesn't matter how big your slice is.
Matters not. Then
There's
it'll
still
always
some
be
left.
just pie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But here's what'll kill you in music license and synchronization, and this is why I believe that the people in Dayton may not grasp onto it. You have to be able to respond on tight deadlines. That means you do have to have a system. Mm-hmm. If I want to replace my job, I have to put what I do into some form of system that I could keep producing, giving product, meeting the demand, getting the briefs, requests, and that system goes. But if I'm not organized and I'm not disciplined and I'm not ready to respond on those tight deadlines, I might as well just go ahead and keep doing IT project management. Because what film, TV, commercials, advertisers, and content creators will not tolerate, and that is, hey, let me go back and see if my cat can sign this before, you know, because the music has to be cleared. When you are putting your music behind some form of visual, that music has to be completely cleared. You can't, we don't have time to go back and say, or for a producer to be like, no, I gotta fix that beat. No, sir. The producers on my team, I tell them when it hits my desk, consider it gone. Because it's not this choke out that we felt musically here. You know, and once we realize that it's just pie, and that you're free to be a creator, and that all you have to do is get organized and get disciplined about it, you can change your job all over the world. The world is flat now. It wasn't flat when I was Lady Supreme.
I love it. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, if somebody wants to dig into your library, if somebody wants to, like, we have our Broken Entrepreneur podcast. I don't believe we have a theme song yet.
You know what? I had thought about that myself. But let me say this also. I did under 30 Days Productions. I did my first jingle for Third Perk.
That is right. That
sure
is
did.
Right.
I also did a jingle for Sweetest Honey Daycare. I mean, the doors will open up when you begin to focus and build. And so now I kind of wake up eager these days because I don't know what's going to unfold.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And we love our Third Perk jingle.
Yay.
And the cool thing about that, when I called you and I talked to you about it, I told you I wanted a song that in 20 years people would say, remember that Third Perk song? And they would start singing it.
You
similar.
Gave me the example of the WDAO
the WDAO song, or Hollywood's Mini Market.
Yeah.
Like, we have a few good local jingles. Like, our companies, our small businesses, they used to invest in jingles, and we knew those songs.
Yeah.
So, and that was my goal, to be
Yeah.
walking down the street and somebody's like, where can I? It's like, you know where.
That blesses
It's that
me.
Third Perk, you know?
Yeah. So since starting the 30 days leg of it, I've done a few jingles.
Okay.
Wow, it's been a ride. From videos, like small businesses are wanting a jingle, if nothing more, not only for advertisement, but it encourages them to hear their own thing that they've built in song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I love it.
Yeah. And you get to tell your own story.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
you know, and that was the thing, you know, perk up on your way to work, come back through the wind down.
Yep.
Happiness is what we serve. We're the people's coffee house, you know. So that's who we are.
Yeah.
And you helped us tell that story.
Yay.
So through 30 days. So, but tell us how can we get in touch with you?
So if you want to hear what I'm doing these days, musically, it would be at 30daysproductions.com. That is the site that I use with music supervisors, editors. I got some other things that I definitely can share. If I want to have a conversation, You can reach me at the Gmail address 30daysofficial@gmail.com, and we can talk about it, because what more than anything, I want to see the community be better.
Okay.
Because the genius still runs through it. They had
Yes.
shows. They had, I mean, it was a great, hot time. Not only even before hip hop and Boss Man and Black Jock, it was bustling, and music was the way that we were bustling.
Wow.
And so, and original music.
Yes.
You know, it really wasn't just bringing shows and bringing people from the outside. We were using these honed skills right here in the city, and I'd like to see that done again. But I also recognize that a camaraderie needs to be made, and some form of incubator for new musicians, actual musicians. It would be there needs to be an incubator and a collective of producers who can discuss and share information, and an incubator and a collective for musicians who actually play instruments. Because there are great musicians. I've worked with musicians in church and from all Dayton. I've worked with musicians who played the clubs. I've worked across the board with them, and there is a common thread in it, and they're waiting.
Okay.
They're waiting for a pop, like a pimple pop, like can't wait. And
So,
somebody got to do it. So
a business incubator for musicians.
some form of collective for musicians it would have to be a practice area where they can roll off of each other. It needs to be a vibe for them. But Dayton used to have that, and I haven't found it. If you know where it is, let me know, because I want to be there.
Okay. All righty. Well. Thank you for sharing with us today.
You my homie. You my homie.
Now, as we close up, give us 3 things. 3 things that you would suggest to someone who is maybe falling off, but still have a little fire inside, or that itch.
Yeah.
Give me 3 things that you might tell that person to keep them encouraged, keep them to keep moving forward. What would you say?
So, because I believe in building, I believe in steps, levels. And so, if you were to ask, I've summarized for myself to keep myself encouraged, an acronym I use called LIVE for live. And this is how I make my decisions. This is how I realize what do I do next. So the L is for logical. Is this thing is what I'm thinking about doing logical? The I is for inspired. Is it an inspired thought, or am I operating out of fear, or am I operating out of arrogance, or am I operating under some other thing? But is it inspired? Is it logical? Is it inspired? Is it valuable? Because a lot of times we do stuff that it's not valuable. It's low value. And the last, and that's my favorite part, is it easy? Because I'm old.
Easy like Sunday
Is it
morning.
easy? Because things are always a lot easier than we make them anyway.
Yeah.
So I check it up. I check my decisions against LIVE. Is it logical? Is it inspired? Is it valuable? And is it easy?
You heard it.
That's it.
You heard it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I sure do love you, girl.
So, I am, again, your girl, Juanita Michelle. This is the People's Coffee House. You have been treated by Nicole Pritchett of 30 Days Production here at our...
Hopro was first.
I know, but she's so much. It's hard to
Hopro
contain.
is first. And
Some
please,
people it's hard to
and
contain.
also for those who want to support the arts and youth in arts, definitely, first and foremost, it's hopro.org. Please make a donation.
Yes.
Please go out and see what we do. We are looking for volunteers. We have some openings for, we're having our board nominations because our board has been in existence for a while. The organization's been going since 2010, but we are in board nominations. And so please reach out, hopro.org. You can email us right from the...
Yes, and you can give them some of your treasures. So
Please.
help the kids out.
Yes.
So I do again want to thank you for being a part of the Broken Entrepreneur Podcast. We are here every week with someone new, another entrepreneur sharing their stories with you. We will be back, but until then, I want you to keep on brewing on those good vibes, y'all. Peace.